Welcome back to Engine Shop Joe. We have been talking this week about fuel filter plugging and premature plugging. And premature plugging is when the filters don't make it to a normal service interval and you've got 559 faults and they're due to the filters plugging. So we tried to address that a little bit earlier in our last video. Tonight I want to continue and finish the week off talking about fuel filters and the importance of fuel cleanliness, and we call that best practice. And if there's one best practice thing that you can do, in my opinion, it's take care of that fuel system. So let's take a look at what you can do to take as best care of your fuel system as you can. So when we opened our filter up, this was actually in the package with the filter, and it was pushed down in the center of the filter. And remember that the outside of the filter is your unfiltered fuel, and the center is your filtered or clean fuel that's going into the fuel system. So we're going to install this plug into the filter, and I want you to watch how hard I have to push it in. It's a very tight fit in that rubber O-ring, and that seals about as tight as it does on the filter head. And there's your instructions, pre-fill with cap in place. And then of course you pull the cap out once you're done. One of the things that I try to do in the fleet that I help to take care of is to look ahead. In other words, I watch the engines by looking at the information that we pull out of them. And you can see if an engine's starting to have a problem by after treatment frequency, and there's some other things that we look at. But the dirt in the fuel system, the more dirt that gets into that fuel system, it really affects the after treatment. And the reason that it does that is because the injectors start to smoke. Think about a rat trap snapping shut. That's how fast injection needs to end, instantly. When injectors are damaged by that dirt that we can't see with the naked eye, one of the things that happens is injection ends slower, and then we have smoke, more smoke at the end of every firing cycle. Or we have spitting, and that all leads to soot. And then the after treatment system has to work harder to take care of that soot. And if it's making too much soot, then the operator ends up having to intervene in the form of having to maybe pull over and push that button that says I need a stationary regen. So the goal is to keep the engine and the fuel system as healthy as possible, the after treatment as healthy as possible, and the number one thing that you can do to protect your engine fuel system is what we looked at tonight about proper filling of the filter. If your fuel filters come with that plug, then use it. This is for the secondary filter on the engine, not the primary. That one really doesn't matter if you fill it with fuel, because it's going to get caught, whatever's going to get caught in the secondary that's on the engine. Some engine filters don't have that plug that we looked at. There's a number of different filter heads that can bolt on the engine with different filter configurations. Mainly that's your on-road versus your off-road. And so if you don't have that plug, that's not a big deal. You just screw that filter up and you use the electric lift pump to prime your filter. That's part of what that got put on there for by Cummins, so that you can fill that dry filter with clean fuel, and it's going to filter it as it fills the filter up, and now the injectors are only going to get clean filtered fuel. Thanks for joining me. See you next time on Engine Shop Joe.